We got cut off there right at the Superhawk moment. It must be an algorithm that translates conscious intent to intervene when the denigration of freedom and human rights and democracy is being obliterated at this very moment. I don't see any reason why the free world does not stand in the Andaman Ocean with the aircraft carrier Nimitz or Theodore Roosevelt and put that ship there to support the people. I was thinking this morning, reading the press and hearing various things that are coming out of Myanmar, how many people are in hiding. It's an unthinkable concept to be in your village, in your city, in your town, in your suburb, and have to be in hiding for fear of incarceration, of the severity of interrogation, the abuse of torture, to be away from your wife, your husband, your sister, your brother, your family, your work, your clothes, your comforts, your children, your security. They're in hiding. Hundreds and hundreds of important people throughout Myanmar in hiding. These are courageous people in hiding. And the world sits back and sends in statements and sanctions to the generals. You can't travel to my country. You can't access a few $1 million that we had here in the kitty. I mean, I don't want to belong to this world. There's a big part of me. I don't want to belong to this level of pathetic, the affirmation of profits. I could just hear the decision making that went on to send those American jets into Syria. It's all about money. Keeping the weapons industry lubricated, the stock market's tanking. Let's show our might. Let's show the people who run the American war machine that the obsession with conflict is a priority than peace and democracy around the world. What else could it mean? Disgusting. Where's our outrage? I know the people of Burma feel that, the younger people especially. Aung San Suu Kyi, released in 2010 after nearly 16 years of detention. Most of the other political prisoners also released at that time. U Win Tin, after 20 years of solitary confinement. I spent several weeks with that man and talked to him about those 20 years, about his country. U Tin U, put into prison for close to 19 years. Barbed wire around his cell for fear that he'd be, sprung in a Rocky or a type of extraction, or a Rambo type of extraction. Where are you, Dasu? Where's the world? Where are you, Dalai Lama? Where are you, Desmond Tutu? Where are you, 13 Nobel laureate women? Where are you, President Obama? Where are you, Michelle? Where are you? This lady has given her life away from her family. Her husband has died. Her father started the army. She's a Nobel Peace Laureate. She's into democracy. I've spent a lot of time with her, her friends, her teachers, her colleagues, her mentors. She is one of us. And you've thrown her under the bus the last 3 years, and now you continue to now that she's jailed and the generals can get away with it and the country's under tyranny, I think I'll just go about with my COVID panic and try to be mindful of my little kind of meal that I'm eating today and talk about basic human kindness. And no offense to the rest of the world, but it's like, where is the outrage? For 10 years, she tried to do the unthinkable with all the people who were elected in these incredibly unfair elections. Reconciliation in action. She's a woman. She chose the power of dialogue over destruction. She's not a toxic masculine. You got it wrong. It's the most elevated expression of the Dharma and spirituality fused with timeless democratic principles ever to be seen on the planet. And there you are allowing her to be thrown into a gulag. Shame on you, Michelle Obama. Shame on you, President Obama, for going there twice. Shame on you, Biden, for having breakfast with her and now throwing her under the bus in your apathy and silence. Shame on you. Where are you, world? Who's going to rise up and stand out, Your Holiness? Desmond Tutu. We got it wrong, okay? We got it wrong. This is the birth of a luminous expression of democracy. They're in hiding. And the world is kind of like, let's Thailand and Indonesia meet with the bogus terrorist foreign minister in Bangkok and talk about the next so-called free and fair democratic elections next year, proposed by the military dictatorship of the Taliban. It's like, that is so fucking distorted. That is George Orwell vintage 1984. You have gotten it all wrong. Why do you even go through the machinations of your bullshit? Call a spade a spade. A genocide is a genocide. Tyranny is tyranny. You've got your country being treated like animals and rats, and the rest of the world just simply non-interference, except when it comes to money and oil and timber and slave labor. And therein lies the deep, interconnected toxicity of the ecosystem of the deep, dark state. Ugh, yuck, what kind of message is that? To my daughter, to her friends, to the youth of the world. Where is Pussy Riot? Where is Cock Riot? Where is Consciousness Riot? Where is absolutely existential rebellion here when we need it? Let the world rise up in a new expression of Dharma, politics, democracy, a care for the future of life and for fucking freedom, and fuck religion, fuck Buddhism, fuck playing it safe, fuck being mindful of my eating as I drive. All bullshit at the moment. The planet is going down. It's the Titanic. We need an immolation at the bow of the Titanic. It says, where is the divine feminine here? Aung San Suu Kyi has her flaws, but man, she rocks. For 10 years, she spoke from her heart to tyranny, to sociopathy, to psychos. I was in the capital. I was in Naypyidaw. I met with many of the elected ministers, of the parliament members, studying how they went about navigating those very men in Naypyidaw, many of them responsible for raping and torturing their own children, and they chose not to demonize them. That is so rad, so unthinkably profound. We talk about yoga off the mat. We talk about meditation off the cushion. We talk about Dhamma out of the monastery. That is rad. That's what's happening in Burma. It's a spiritual revolution beyond religion. They call it a revolution of the spirit. Where are you, world? Where are you, leaders? Where are you when democracy needs stealth? I'm a super hawk, are you? Bring the Nimitz into the sea of the Andaman Sea and feed the people. Fund the people and let those 64 F-18 attack Hornets sit there on that deck with our military. I've said it numerous times, I'll say it again. I'm from a military family, generations of them. You stand up, Alan, when you need to stand up. People become family in democracy. They become family in freedom. We're a global family. You must stand up. Burma is the next Tibet. Why do you think China funds and why do you think they give weapons to the Taliban in Myanmar? Why do you think China funded in the Arakan state the Arakan army? Fully funded, uniformed with high-tech Chinese weapons, who are an outlawed terrorist organization to the Thamada, the Taliban in Burma. The Chinese and Xi Jinping are a very clever, chess-playing, maniacal dictatorship. It's not as easy as like, let our boy, Senior General Ming Online, do our bidding, man. They put people against people. What they want are the slave laborers of Burma. They want they want to treat them like they treat their own people in China. Don't get me wrong. I mean, there's not a day in the life of an ordinary Chinese citizen who's ever seen freedom. I am with the people of China, but I am not with the genocidal Xi Jinping any more than I'm with the senior general Taliban leader of Burma. I am with the people. The people of Burma are with the people of the globe. But China wants Burma. They want their oil. They want their gas. They want their gems. They want their rubies. They want their jade. They want their people as slave laborers for manufacturing, for lumber, for plastics, for phones. China is on the march. It's obvious. We got it wrong in Hong Kong, and it's happening right on our watch in Myanmar today. I don't want to be right. Make me wrong. Wake up, America. Wake up, Biden. Wake up, United Nations. This is a time to send in military as moral and financial and potentially military support. I'm a super hawk. I like it. I've been banned for 17 years in Burma. I expect it again. Thank you very much. It's very much okay. I don't care. My friend, my Dhamma sister, Daw Aung San Suu Kyi, is now missing, meaning that she's likely to be put into prison. And you're letting that happen and let people go into hiding? It is wrong. Wrong, 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 wrong. I met with Daw Tan Tan when I was in Burma last. This was Burma's first prime minister's youngest child, his daughter. And she lives in the very house where she was born, and her father, Unu, who was one of the visionaries of the monastery that I lived in Yangon called the Mahasi Thatanayekta. And among many things that we talked about over the course of a couple of weeks, and she's a remarkably composed, elegant, super nuanced human being who's lived the jagged life of being someone under the tyranny of dictatorship. She told me that when she was a teenager, right in the very house that we're sitting, is that in the middle of the night, they heard sounds and soldiers came in. A tank was in the driveway, and they took her father and handcuffed him, who was at that time the prime minister. And she heard the man who took him speak into the walkie-talkie. She was telling me that we've got the maggot. And it's obvious, she said, that they were speaking to the general of the army, Ne Win. This is the grandfather of the present Senior General Ming Online. This is the iteration 2 or 3 above his own diabolical training in tyranny and dictatorship. Ne Win, the very man who anointed him as General of the Army shortly thereafter, based on some primordial obsession, some abscess of their own delusion and tyranny, some metaphysical darkness that metastasizes through the DNA of their own darkened soul, and they decide to incarcerate, imprison, and play out Game of Thrones on the landscape of present-time human existence. And yet again, we have another moment, a blip in history that few people will ever know about, how a young girl, decades later, was still traumatized from the event of her father being taken away in the middle of the night as a prime minister, never seen again for years. I bring this up not to name drop. These people I've sought out. They're heroes and heroines of mine. They display a level of moral courage that is just breathtaking. Burma is in hiding. Hundreds of leaders, trade unionists, teachers, nurses, doctors, truck drivers, taxi drivers, social media influencers, actors, directors, producers, reporters, journalists, videographers, leaders, hip-hop artists, rap artists, death metal artists, heavy metal artists are going home to home, apartment to apartment, tunnel to tunnel, tree to tree, hiding from the thugs of the Taliban, the merciless expression of Burma's military, now gone into Al-Qaeda-like, ISIS-like tyranny to their own people. And they're being chased and hunted. Let that image sink in. Welcome to Burma today. And ASEAN and the free world impose sanctions? That's what you do? That's what you do. When you've got millions of dollars being spent right now in the South China Sea with 2 American attack aircraft group between Taiwan and mainland China, as if China is paying attention. I mean, it's despicable. It is just stupid. Bring that aircraft carrier to the Andaman Sea right now, Mr. Biden. Get tough, EU. Get tough, Canada. Get tough, Australia. Say enough is enough. If you don't release Aung San Suu Kyi now, if you do not release the 780 others that you have jailed, and if you don't call off your tyranny to the people and put the boys and the men back in their barracks, take the tanks off the street, immediately, we are bringing these attack aircraft carrier groups and we're bringing them to the Andaman Sea. We're going to show up for democracy. We're not going to let a World War III happen on the shores of Burma. We're going to prevent it. We attacked when the Japanese fascists came in. We bombed Mandalay and Rangoon to get them out. We fought hand-to-hand combat with them. Guess what? We're not going to let Burma be the seat of World War III. You know why? Because Burma is a democracy and we're drawing a line in the sand, genocidal Premier Xi Jinping. You will not have Burma. You will not have the Bay of Bengal. You will not face off with India because you're going to have to face off with the free world. Enough is enough. We got it wrong in Hong Kong. We're getting it wrong in Tibet. We've gotten it wrong with the Uyghurs. We're not going to get it wrong with the people of Myanmar. We're not going to get it wrong with Aung San Suu Kyi. We're not going to get it wrong with democracy. We're not going to get it wrong with Burma's parliament. Get on national TV now and declare yourself Senior General. I made a mistake. Call off the war and restore democracy to a new radiant new coming in this country. There's a part of me as I close today that feels, is it hopeless? No. I do believe, and I've stood on this for decades now, that do what you do based on your own conscience and pull back from desired outcomes and let the truth be spoken and let that nurture you, Alan. That's what I was told and how I was encouraged. And the people of Myanmar, let me close with my love of you, my love of what your country represents, who you are, what you're doing. The world hasn't abandoned you. They don't have the clarity of heart sight to see what you're doing. They're too mired, it seems, in the delusion and the psychosis of profit over people and pride and power over prosperity and peace. I wish it were different. I wish I could throw a metaphysical, psychedelic into the mindset of our country's consciousness and illuminate unrecognized attributes of courage and decency and conscious action in support of people like you right now in Burma. But that's not within my psychic ability or my physical means. You're not alone. The world is watching and feeling you. And believe me, good people, they may be few, but they're growing in number, get it. They really get you guys and girls. I watch your videos. I receive a lot of different texts from people and messages. I'm touched, I'm blown out, I'm awed, I'm crying, I'm up most of the night, scrolling, looking, learning, feeling what to say, what not to say, how to act, what to do, how to keep, on moving. I just want you to know that you're not alone and that what you do and what you're doing right now in your hiding, in your refusal to buy what the military sells, what the cronies sell, divesting everything you've got psychically and physically in the apparatus of tyranny, and the girls and boys in that country, the women of Myanmar right now, you rock, all the wives of the military, all the wives of the police, If you don't release Aung San Suu Kyi, it's over with me. Make it a meme. Walk out. Free the people or I'm into divorce. Walk out of the complicity with these men in uniforms with insipid, impotent, decadent, perverse motivations. Why do you want to belong to a family of toxicity? Take your love into the Buddha Dhamma Sangha. Take your love into democracy. Show your allegiance to the future of freedom, not to the perversity of tyranny. Divorce the generals. Walk away, women. And I'll close here with the Tila Shins. I've been speaking as a former monk in Burma. The women, the nuns, the Tila Shins. There are a lot of you. There are a lot of you. I'm just trying to think of innovative ways that you're already, that I don't know about, showing your alignment to the civil disobedience movement. But how interesting it would be for, say, 1,000 nuns to sit in meditation in front of the police or the military in Naypyidaw, in Yangon, in Mandalay, and then maybe 20,000, and then maybe 50,000 Tila Shins, walking every morning through the streets chanting Metta, the Metta Sutta. The world will take notice. Be innovative in your creativity and using the power of conscience and consciousness fused with metta and karuna and mudita and upekkha and sati, all these timeless qualities your country embodies so beautifully, and now fused within your democracy struggle for freedom. Come out, nuns. Sit. Be innovative. Inspire the monks to participate and to divest all psychic and physical investment. We refuse to take dana from any business, anyone associated with the Dhamma. Civil disobedience movement, gone to the Dhamma, gone to the Yektas. All churches and synagogues, all mosques refuse to take dana from anything associated with the military. Divest. Stop selling. Stop working. Shut the country down. Isolate the generals. Wives, leave them and let them stew and fry and boil in their own oil. And the world, rise up, leaders, take note. Come to the Andaman Sea and stand in military solidarity as if our ships are sitting in meditation with the people. Just sit there and let those generals know you're fucking with the wrong people, dude. We've drawn a line in the sand with you and with China and with Russia, and we're basically saying Burma matters. Full stop. And let's see what happens. Take a stand for democracy, free world. Take a visual, tangible expression of action and put American military might in the Andaman Sea. Feed the people, fund the people, and show them moral support. So from my heart to yours, may this video be shared with the people of the world and with the people in Myanmar. And from my heart to yours, thank you. And I hope to see you tomorrow at 9:30 here in California.